Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar, the 2026 Marketing Playbook for Small Businesses. I am Linda Pettijohn, your host today. I do want to be transparent with you all up front. This is pre-recorded. I am actually having surgery on webinar day. It was not originally scheduled for webinar day. But then it got moved, and I just realized that rather than try and reschedule this and get a new time this time of year, it would probably just be easier to record and have it stream live to all of you. That being said, I am definitely going to be involved in the comments. If you have questions, if you have anything that you would like addressed, feel free to shoot those in the comments. I'll be moderating that. Or you can send me an email, melinda@amplifier.co, and I'm happy to respond to you there. So let's dig in, shall we? A couple of housekeeping things. Who am I? So I'm Melinda. I am the CEO and founder of Amplifier, which is a Bloomington, Indiana-based marketing consulting and growth advisory firm. I have more than 15 years of experience in marketing, as well as my master's degree from the University of Denver. As far as common questions, yes, this will be recorded. Yes, you will get the recording. Yes, you can have the slides if you like. So I'll send all of that out later this week. What we're covering today, we're going to talk about why marketing feels harder than ever, what is actually going to work in 2026, and how to stop doing too much while still getting better results, and clear next steps that you all can take immediately to improve your marketing and decrease the amount of work that you're doing. My goal is by the end of this, you know what you should focus on for 2026, what you can go ahead and stop doing or do less of, and what's actually worth improving or building on or building next as we head into the new year. So hopefully that aligns with what you were hoping to learn by attending today. If marketing feels harder right now, it's not just you. We are seeing like a lot of declining visibility due to the way social and search have changed, especially over the last couple of years. Organic reach is definitely down, SEO is changing, and social platforms are really moving more to a pay to play model faster than ever. We're also seeing significantly higher ad costs with lower return on investment. So ads still work, but they're not as forgiving as they used to be if you have bad targeting or weak messaging or poor creative. So that's your images or videos. It gets really expensive really fast, and you may not see the results that you probably would have in the past. AI is making everything more confusing for all of us, myself included. And when I talk about AI, I don't just mean tools that you may or may not be using now in your marketing or business, but it's also changing the way people search, evaluate, and decide. So, rather than Googling restaurants near me, there are people who use ChatGPT or another AI platform to say, hey, what are the best restaurants in Bloomington, Indiana? And if your website and content is not optimized for search engines and AI engines to crawl it, you will not show up in those results, even if you have a million wonderful reviews. So definitely something that is changing the landscape of marketing pretty significantly. We're also seeing just too many best practices, and it's all advice that wasn't wrong, but it's outdated or it's built for teams with more time or more money or a dedicated marketing person. It's not really geared towards kind of this small, medium business where you are the owner and you're probably wearing a lot of hats, or you might have a couple of employees helping out and wearing some of the hats, but you're still kind of overwhelmed in trying to figure this all out on your own. And, like every other aspect of our business, because keep in mind, I'm a small business owner as well. We always have more marketing tasks than time. So, marketing is not your full time job. It is my full time job. However, I don't get to just sit and do marketing for my business. I am working on behalf of my clients. So, my marketing, my company's marketing, often gets pushed to the bottom of my to do list. And so, if you're in that boat or a similar boat, I completely understand because I get there myself way too often. Um, so really just want to call out here. The problem isn't that you're doing anything wrong with marketing. It's just that marketing plans have never been designed for small business owners, small teams with limited time and limited resources. And with all of the new channels and the new information and the new way people are searching and finding businesses, there's honestly just too much information to digest, and it can be really difficult to know what to do. So that's what we're going to talk through. So if we talk a little bit about, and I've touched a lot of this already, but why most small business marketing plans fail is because they're usually built on guesswork, or they're built on outdated tactics, or they are from advice that just assumes that you have unlimited resources, or even if it's not unlimited, just more resources or more time or more people than you actually have. And they almost always encourage you to do more, but they're not really focused on what is going to move the needle for your business. So I want to reframe our marketing to focus on doing more and make it more impactful rather than um, doing fewer things and making it more impactful rather than doing more and, hoping that everything works and trying to figure out how I can make all of those things work in my time and, other things going on in my life or my business. Um, so 2026 is not going to be about being everywhere or on every channel. It's really about prioritizing and making sure that the content and marketing that you are doing is working for your business and that it's adequately reflecting your capacity and needs, and also being as effective as it can be. So you're not just wasting your time. Great. So again, we talked a little bit about this already. 2026 is going to require a different approach. We're going to do fewer priorities. We're going to get really clear on our messaging. We're going to put together smarter systems, and we're going to develop marketing that actually fits your business. So let's talk about what actually matters in marketing in 2026. So again, one of the things that we really need to keep in mind, and one of the things that's probably the most game changing right now, is visibility and how that is changing. So people aren't just Googling businesses anymore or Googling restaurants near me. While that is still a way that people find out about businesses, there is now searching on maps that people can do, and is often like a really good way to find restaurants or stores, or anything near you. For example, I was on kind of a road trip with some friends, and we really needed safety pins. I know that sounds silly, and so I just put into my map app like safety pins near me, and it showed me like the closest place where I could buy safety pins. So that really is a way that people are, beginning to search for different places. We also, of course, this isn't totally new, but people just asking their social networks, social platforms, groups. I see it a lot in like my community group, where's the best place to do this, or who's the best person to talk to about this service? Where should I get my hair cut? Those kind of things. So word of mouth and social media in that capacity is still important, and it's still a player. But yeah. And then, we've already touched on this a little bit too with our AI generated answers. So, again, I have the ChatGPT app on my phone, and I definitely turn there more than I do to Google these days and just ask it, where should I go? Can you make me a plan for this? How long will it take me to drive here and here? Is there a good place to stop for lunch on the way? And it can really like help you plan all of that out, which is super great. However, again, if your business is not optimized for AI, it's not going to pull in your information. So that can be a little bit tricky. So visibility now comes from consistency across a few key places rather than dominating on one channel. So you don't have to win everywhere. You just need to be clear and findable where your customers are already looking. So AI is changing how visibility works. So in case you aren't totally clear, AI pulls from existing content and signals. These typically come from your website. Clear messaging matters more than volume, and consistency fuels that discoverability. So something that was definitely true with SEO, but is also really true with AI and is coming to light more, is the longer that your content sits and is stale, the less relevant that it is ranked by both search engines and AI. So, in a perfect world, you are creating your website and setting it up in a way that you can regularly add new content. And it doesn't have to be like every day. You don't have to do a blog, although that is a common way to do this. But for restaurants, etc., like one thing I recommend is maybe just updating your menu seasonally. So 4 times a year, you get a new menu and you kind of talk about that. Um, Stores or shops, it's pretty easy. You can just add some new products. Service-based businesses, it is a little more challenging, so you may need to go the blog content route, but it still doesn't need to be anything that's taking up a ton of your time. And we'll also talk about how to take one piece of content and use it a lot. So you're investing time in this one piece, but you can use it over and over rather than creating brand new content every day. So yeah, you don't need to be everywhere. You just need to be clear where it counts. This is one thing that I definitely see a lot with small businesses right now. And it has to do with social media. And so I see a lot of folks posting every day. And they're like, I post every day. Why am I not getting more people? Why am I not getting more customers? And the truth is that like more posts does not equal more visibility. So because social media has paid options, especially for businesses, they're only showing your organic content, so the content that you're not promoting with money, to a tiny, tiny section of your audience. It's going to be people who just recently liked your page or your top fans who come to your page all the time. It's They're not showing it to everybody who has liked your page or subscribed to your page. So we have to think about how we're distributing our content and how we can be more strategic with that and do that in a way that's sustainable versus just trying to produce content every day because frankly not enough people are seeing it for it to really matter. um, so that can, that's a pretty big step because a lot of times when I talk to small businesses, I hear, well, I do social media every day. I post multiple times a day. I make sure we have something new every day. And that used to be like a super effective strategy. And frankly, now it's just not. Social media does still play a role. It's really great for someone who has discovered you and is vetting you. So, like deciding whether or not they want to come. It can also be a great place to remind customers about you or show them what's new so that they can come back. But as far as like a first time visitor, really getting in front of someone or sparking that initial interest, it's not the right channel for that. Let's see. So, yeah, if daily posting worked, more businesses would be growing. All right. So I kind of talked about this a little bit already, but one strong asset beats 12 rushed posts. So we really want to think about and be strategic about what assets are we creating? How can we show value to our customers or our potential customers? How can we attract their interest? How can we stand out to them? How can we connect with them? How can we answer their actual questions? And then how can we develop content that gets reused across channels? So, what I do for my business is I do events like this because I really think this advice is valuable and I want to provide help. But also, I can take this video and chop it up into social media snippets. I can use the audio transcript to write a couple blog posts. I can send those out as emails to my database. So I really take this one event and kind of use it in all my channels for lots of content. Yes, it takes me time to like build this presentation and build an outline and record the video and get it all set up. But to me, that's worth it because I put in a couple of hours doing all of that. And then I have content for 2 or 3 months versus trying to write a blog post and social media posts and everything every single day. And then, yeah, by making sure you have a strong content funnel like this, you're supporting search, email, and AI discovery. So now we're going to talk a little bit more about trust. So we've talked a little bit about tactics, so we're going to move on to trust. So in 2026, trust is even more important than it's always been. And what I mean by trust, I'm talking about clear positioning. So, really understanding who you are and what's your unique value. What proof and credibility can you offer that you are the best, or you have the cutest clothes, or you have the yummiest food, or the best ingredients, the freshest ingredients? Like, how can you show rather than tell? Because if I just tell you I'm a great digital marketer and I have a lot of experience and you should work with me because, I'll help you streamline on all your systems, that's great. But if I can show you an example, like, hey, I worked with this company and I was able to streamline their systems and save them money and save them time while also getting them more business, that's significantly more impressive. And so the same is true for you. Um, Additionally, we want to have consistent messaging. So, one thing that I am seeing in all size businesses, but especially smaller businesses, is you are starting to use AI to develop content like your social media posts. That's fantastic. Love that. Love the time savingness of it. I do it too. That's great. However, you do want to make sure that you are using like a voice, brand, and tone document when you're doing that so that all of your content is staying consistent. And then you also want to make sure that you are asking your AI tool, whichever one you use, Claude, Jasper, ChatGPT, whatever, to please remove their AI isms. So this refers to like M dashes, really cliche phrases, all the emojis that they do. Like anytime that you see a post like that, it was written by AI. And we definitely want to eliminate that as much as possible because it really alienates your customers. Like our customers are very savvy these days and they know what it looks like when AI spits out some content. Um, I kind of mentioned this here. AI boosts output, but it can hurt trust. So, making sure that your messaging is consistent, that you are being very clear so that you're improving your search and AI results, and that you aren't breaking that trust by showing, hey, yeah, I'm just throwing this into AI and copying and pasting, um, rather than like, hey, I am putting thought into my content and, uh, you know, developing something that is worthy of your time and attention. Um, okay, so beyond that, I want to talk a little bit about email as an option. So I feel like email is really good at building trust, at keeping your customers engaged and coming back. And it's also great at relationship building and creating those conversions over time. I see a lot of small businesses not really using email effectively. They're still using social media for a majority of their announcements and communication with their customers. And that's just not the best channel. When you're on social media, you do have to remember that you are competing with their friends, their family, all the other businesses that want to get in front of them. Um, you know, you're competing with Target and Amazon. And that's true for email too. But if they already have a relationship with you, they are far more likely to see your email and engage with it versus a social post where they may not even get it shown to them, just depending on the algorithm there. At least with email, you do know that it's ending up in their inbox and hopefully they'll open it and take a look. Whereas on social, you can't even guarantee that it'll show up in their feed. Um, great. Uh, so, just talking a little bit about how like marketing sparks interest and then email can help you build that momentum. Along with email is one of the easiest channels to automate. But a lot of times when I talk to small businesses about automation, they think that it's really complicated or they start to make it too complicated and then it gets really overwhelming. So, some things that you can automate fairly easily without going too crazy or trying to do something too complicated is following up with someone when they sign up for your newsletter or join your email list. Um, you know, and then having your thank you messages pop up after someone makes a purchase. Reminding people about your loyalty membership if you have one. What are their points due? What is their point balance? Do they have points expiring? And a lot of systems will let you like set those up and then forget about them and just run them on your behalf. So those are definitely some places where you can automate some things to keep your customers warm and keep them in the pipeline and keep them coming back without you having to do too much beyond that initial setup and then maybe just changing something as it comes along. So with automation, I really encourage you to start simple because simple systems are way better than complex setups if you are just getting started with automation or just trying to do this in short little increments rather than revamping your whole system all at once. So my last little piece here is I want you to stop doing everything. You can't. We can't. I can't. I'm a marketer and I can't even do all my own marketing. I don't have time. So I encourage you to get some help and also prioritize. So, to prioritize, I recommend this 3 question filter. As you're getting ready to do something, and it can be marketing related or not, determining does this help the right people find me? Does this help new customers come in the door? Does this build trust or move them closer to action or a second action if they've already been a customer? And is this something I can do consistently for 90 days? If you're answering no to these questions, then you don't need to be doing it. Um, Consistent marketing is way more important than like burning yourself out and then going dark for 2 months. Believe me, I'm speaking from experience. Um, so I want you to think about systems and processes that are sustainable for you in your business. What is going to help you move the needle the most? If you need help figuring out what that could be, I'm happy to jump on a call with you and just narrow that down with you. We can talk about that, but that's really where you should start. Busy marketing does not mean effective marketing. So just because you're super busy doesn't mean that what you're doing is working. So again, kind of going along with that filter system, once you've decided which activities are worth your time, then I want you to kind of run it through this focus framework. So you're going to focus, you're going to really double down on the areas you've identified as real opportunities for you. You're going to fix or improve what's already working. And then you're going to freeze, pause, stop, whatever's not working or not really driving you towards your goals. Your marketing plan should match your real life. So it should match your time, your energy, your capacity, and your business stage. So, an example of a marketing plan for 2026. Most small businesses only need one core visibility channel. So, a visibility channel is something that's public. You need one primary conversion path and one follow up system. So, what do I mean by these things? So, we're talking about your visibility channel. So, that's going to be content, search, or SEO, or you can use social if it's working for you. Although, again, we've kind of talked about how social may not be the best option for everyone. As far as your one conversion path or your primary conversion path, decide if you want people to come to your website and fill out a form. Maybe you want them to go to landing pages that are more specific, especially if you serve a lot of different customers. Do you want them to call you? Do you want them to come into your store? Do you want them to shop online? Like, decide what that primary action is, or you may have two, right? You may have a storefront and your online store, but deciding on those and really focusing on one and getting and like nailing it and getting it super, super efficient. And then you can start building on this, right? But let's focus on one. And then you want your follow up system. So that can be email or automation or a combination of the two. Or it can be phone calls. I don't love that system. I don't want to call people. But whatever makes the most sense for you. It can also be mail. I think mail is one of the least used channels these days for marketing. And so therefore it's like more effective. You can actually get in front of your customers a little bit easier because they're not as inundated with messaging in that channel. So I feel like it's making a little bit of a comeback, and it could be something cool for you to explore, especially for customers that you've already established and you're just like bringing them back. All right. So this is just an example of a marketing stack using the method that I just laid out. We talked through this: visibility, search, content, or social, conversion, website or booking flow, and then follow up email plus light automation. So this is kind of what we do here at Amplifier. Our main visibility tactic is content. Hey, you're looking at this webinar. Our conversion channel is our website. So we want people to come to the website and see our forms. And our follow up system is email, and we have a ton of automation running, and that's working well for us. So, your action steps from this webinar is to choose one focus for Q1. You're going to identify one thing that you're going to stop doing. You're going to identify one system that you want to improve or build. And then you're just going to rinse and repeat for Qs 2 through 4. Just continuing to build on your system, monitor what's working, and continue to optimize throughout the year. 2026 isn't about doing more marketing. It's about doing the right marketing with purpose. So if you need help figuring out what channels make most sense for your business, what channels are working the best for you today, how you can be more strategic with those channels, figuring out what your priorities should be, help developing systems, like those are the places where I really excel, and I would love to have conversations with you about those things. You can shoot me an email at melinda@amplifier.co, or you can visit amplifier.co. That's our website. I have some blog posts, etc., that walk through some of these things. You can also fill out the contact form there if you forget my email address. I hope that this was helpful for you. Please reach out if you do need help. And I hope you have a great, abundant start to 2026. Please let me know if you need anything. Thank you.